Well, our next performer's not at all worm-like, but I think perhaps he might have been a scribe in the great age of Cheops, perhaps. But I'm jumping metaphorically to 7, 8 years ago, I guess. And locally at that time, there was a poetry group meeting here in Broadstairs, at the chapel, an open mic, hosted by Mr. Mark Holihan. And I recall very well, as if it was yesterday, a man turning up who I didn't know, and that was nothing unusual there, that's fine. But then he pulled on a pink bathing hat. And he proceeded to share some of his unforgettable worm poems. That was the first time I met Emile Sercombe. And as we know, he continued to support many of the local poetry events. So as a celebration and a bringing people together of some of those days at the chapel, hosted so affably and hospitably by you, Mark, where we welcomed Emile to our Thanet community. Let's welcome to the stage, please, Mr. Mark Holihan.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening. Good evening. One crow, not a murder. No! The voice is guttural, desperate. No! A slight rasping edge to it. But all I can see is sunlight on the footpath, and one crow pausing in mid-stride on the freshly plowed earth. I slow my pace, scan the fields, one quieter cry, half-hearted, desolate, and the bird has resumed its stately waddle. Is it him? Has nature found a voice, an opinion? Or is there a distant murder just beyond the hedges? I'm stopping now, staring, dark feathers, blue sky, red poppies, and hogweed. And in the distance, bounding out of the overgrown cauliflower, a small black doodle flings himself over the mud. In a moment, he's pattering up to me with his shiny eyes wide, just as the owner emerges from behind a blackthorn, shaking her head, green walking jacket, chaotic grey hair. As she passes, she mutters, in way of greeting, "He's just gone and rode in something disgusting." I say, "Good morning." The crow stands quite still to watch us pass. Almost there. Birthday poem. The day about gone, just about gone. I shook hands with most everyone, the shrill, practically inaudible cry of two swifts careening, high, faint scratches on the sky, iron gray, dusk heavy. Just a couple of fat raindrops, like spit. The train shrilled quiet, white noise muffling over us on the trip back from Cornwall. Afternoon feeding evening, the last light, red cliffs hurtling, water shining fast and flat. I was almost deaf when I stumbled off into the too familiar. My ears are still ringing. And that black Vauxhall did miss the bike, hip-hop bouncing off the tarmac, around the corner between the bungalows. I stepped out onto the road to let a woman and her spaniel pass. She never looked up. The lawns are all brown, the sun now California hot. I walk past every day, but I still don't know what sort of bird left its feathers and wing ends in the churchyard as though it exploded. All the headstones look drunk or broken, like closing time. And yet, I'm grateful for another year. I really am. Thank you. I am expanding my 3 poems to 4, as you said was all right. So if I stumble on this one, it's because I haven't practiced. Self-portrait. I discover the way around and over softening contours by a very uncertain eye. It's flicking between the reflection and the notebook page, a vain attempt, or is it desperate? to delineate the casually unknown extracted from the over-familiar in the evening's half-light. More of an egg shape, I mutter, and then say it out loud. Graphite builds up on the paper as I learn or relearn the topography. My fingers can walk these old lines more easily than I can sketch, but I'm trying to see the way. Whose face is that really? Why do I hunch? I don't want to draw the glasses, but without them, all hope is gone. One can only do so much by touch, or perhaps nothing at all here. All I can do is create a map, my map, of light and shade, and note that here be shadows. Okay, one more. And this one just came to me the other day, and it's called, Emile would say, it's just some wind. I walk the narrow footpath in the storm, not talking but murmuring to myself again, and maybe to Emile also. I hope no one's watching. The gale presses me back, then forward, buoyant, a cocky breath of weather performing in wildly flapping brassica. I hold my tongue and pass another dog walker. And remind me of that poem of yours about dogs. You were barking the whole time, mewing? Some huge sound and a hat, of course, always a hat. But it was definitely barking. It's on my mind, the kindness of your stats. How has your voice become tenuous now? I rely on my fragile memory, electrons flickering somewhere behind my eyes, while all the fierce power of your smile, your fearless voice, has passed into this gust, pushing the clouds and me around. Gulls careen overhead in a cloud, talking all at once in herring gull talk, chuckling, cawing, raucous, ecstatic. You would have done the birds better than the flock itself, and we would all be gasping, crying, but still, it's so much like you, so much of you now, that I feel I should applaud the sky, laugh out loud at absolutely everything, at the entire teetering, banging, blustering universe. Bravo to the troposphere, to the oncoming squalls, the waving cabbages. Bravo, Emile. This is quite an encore. Thank you.